Hello everyone, Auvbri here, and welcome back to another speed build in The Sims 4. Today we are actually doing the 21,000 subscriber video. 21k subscribers is freaking insane. I mean, I'm so happy. Thank you all so much. This build took so long to do, and that's also why you're gonna see that this build is actually quite long. It actually took about 5 to 6 hours to do over a span of, I believe it was 2 days. So I've used my spare time, which I do not have a lot of at the moment, but I used my spare time to actually build this house, and I think it turned out really awesome. So the whole premise of this house is being round, rounded off and just creating this feeling of a round house. So what I actually did was I tried to use those rounded, what are those called? Those rounded kind of, damn, those round things that you can place on the floor, the one that I just did there. I tried to use those as a base, but for some reason you cannot actually use those and still create a wall on top of that. It says that it is not possible. So yeah, I tried to make the whole underneath the house feel as round as possible, and I did that with some tricks that I use, and you can kind of see me do it here. And then I thought, okay, so instead of keeping it all round at the top as well, let's just play around with this theme that I was kind of doing underneath this. And I thought that was a really nice idea. And it just makes it look as if it is all on purpose, the way that it looks. And I really like that. So that's what we did. This house is actually quite a big house. It's been a long time since I've created something this big. It might not look as big when you actually look at it now, but because there are so many angled walls inside of this house, and because it just took so long, we actually have a huge kitchen with a quite large dining room. We have 2 bathrooms. We have 2 bedrooms, 1 study, 1 living room, 1 little reading area, and then I actually did a spare room as well. So a room that you can do with whatever you want to do, because at that point it had just taken me so long to actually do the rest of this build that I needed it to get done. I don't want to sound like I didn't want to do that, but I also know that you guys like to have options to actually furnish a room for yourself if there's like something that you need. That could be a kid's room or whatever. So I wanted to keep that option open as well. But I also just needed to get this house done because it was getting so long, and it's almost 30 minutes as it is now. So I needed it to kind of get done. And kind of, I'm not sure how to explain it. I just needed it to get done. And so there is a spare room, which you can do with whatever you want. It's actually quite a large room, or a second large room. I mean, some of the rooms in here may seem a bit large, and that's again just because of the way that all of the angles is in this house. But can I just say real quick that I freaking love how this house turned out. It's probably one of the best houses I have done this year, and I'm super happy about how it turned out. I know there's been a lot of, I don't know why, but there's been a lot of hype around my underwater house, which for the life of me I do not get, because yeah, it's a pretty cool house, and I really like how the house turned out, but I just don't get why people are going so crazy over it. It makes me super happy, but I'm not getting it. It's just, it's freaking awesome, but I don't know why people are just liking it so much, but I guess it's freaking awesome. But this house also turned out so amazing, and part of the reason that it actually took so long to build is the fact that I spent just as long on the outside, so on the exterior, the garden and all that stuff, as I did on the inside. And that's actually something that you won't see me do quite as often. Often I will just do the minimal, the bare minimal for the outside, for the garden and stuff, and just go to the inside, or vice versa. Kind of do the bare minimum for the inside, and then kind of do the best that I can outside. But for this build, because this is the 21k subscribers, which is again freaking amazing, thank you so much. But I really wanted this build to be the best that I could do, and I really think that this build turned out freaking amazing. And I love the garden, I love the inside, and it just all turned out so amazing. So this is just my thank you to all of you who subscribed, and all of you who support me, for all your continued support. It's just what keeps me going, really. So I know there might be some times where there is kind of a long span between the uploads. So I do believe that the last upload I did was about a week ago, but I also have a job, and trying to maintain this channel and also having my job maintained and doing all of those things can actually be pretty hard. So just your support actually is what keeps me going, because sometimes I don't want to do YouTube, I don't want to upload, just because of the stress from work and all of that. I'm not going to bore you with that, but it's a great feeling to know that people want to see the content that I create, and are happy with what I create, and all the support is freaking amazing. So thank you so much for that. But as you can see, we're working on the front garden here. I tried to capture that round feeling that we have with the house as much as possible. So we don't actually have a tool to create round walls at all. So I tried to do some patterns on the ground instead, complementing that with some shrubs and stuff outside that I actually thought looked really good with the house. So the house is just it's just kind of looking a bit plain, not plain boring, but just we have these very basic colors. So we have stone and white and brown woods, and that looked awesome. But I needed something more. I needed the garden to be extraordinary. So I tried my very best to create this round feeling outside in the garden as well. So here we're just creating these shader walls here, using a lot of shelvings. And I thought that I can't remember, I believe it was with a build I did with another YouTuber. What was it called? I believe it was called High Winds Modern, where I also did this thing with the wall here, and that just stuck in my mind, and I just loved how that looks. So I decided to do this here just because it fit in, and then I could kind of keep the round feeling that I wanted to have. So when you look at this from the top side, from above, it actually creates like this fake round circle, and I really love that. What else can I say? Oh yeah, so in the back of the house it was looking kind of empty, so I just tried to create this little I'm not sure what to call it, like little gazebo thingy that I kind of use for meditation in the end. So we kind of create like this little meditation place with all of these stuff from Spa Day. So we kind of have like this little yoga place. And then I decided to also create a shader wall with the shelvings here, just because it actually fit in very well. And it was creating some sort of privacy to the yoga place, which I actually really liked. So that's why we did that. Yeah. So yeah, let me just while this video is quite long, let me just tell you what I've been up to for the last 7-8 days. So it has been Easter here in Denmark, and we have I know there's a lot of other countries in around the world that celebrates Easter, but here in Denmark we actually have a lot of days off, or some people do. I didn't have a lot. I'd actually only have 2 days offs in Easter, but there are so many people in the place where I work for this big Easter buffet, and we still had open in the restaurant as well. So there was a lot of people, which meant that I was working a lot, and I was working from 9 in the morning to 10, sometimes 11 at night, and it was just some mornings I just didn't wanna get out of bed, and I just have to say real quick, I actually have about an hour drive to work. So if I had like, if I got off at 10 o'clock, then I would actually be home at 11, and then had to get up at 7 again to get to work. So it's just kind of like, okay, so I didn't actually get a lot of sleep, and then I knew I was neglecting YouTube a bit. But I just didn't have the energy to do it, and I'm sitting here at my day off doing this build, and I really just got into it again. Sometimes, I don't know how it is about for the other YouTubers that actually do speed builds, or just YouTubers in general, but sometimes you just don't feel like doing YouTube. Because it can get to the point where it feels like it is a chore, and I don't want it to feel like that. I do not want it to feel like it's something that I have to do. I want it to feel like something I want to do because it's fun, and sometimes it just feels like a chore, and then I'm not inclined to do it at all. So I know sometimes there may be a span where I don't upload as often, and that's just because I don't have the inspiration, or I don't feel like doing it. And if I start creating content because I have to do it and not because I want to, then I can kind of see the creative side and just the share amount of work that I put into it just fall down and not be as good as what I know I can do. So just keep that in mind when you're actually watching my videos. That sometimes I might not upload as often as I should, but it's just it can be really hard sometimes. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. But we've moved into the kitchen here. So you walk right into the kitchen when you come into the house, and it's just this big, nice open space, and I really like that. So we use this half wall in the kitchen to actually create like a little separation between the kitchen and the dining room, which is on the other side of that. But it still feels like this nice big room with all of these this big great space, this great open space, and I really like that. So the style I was going for in this build was just super modern. I was also trying to find stuff that actually worked well with the wallpapers that I've chosen, because I decided to put the wallpapers from the outside, actually bring them inside, just to make it feel a bit more natural of a build, and just, you know, just trying to bring the inside or the outside inside, and I just feel like all of those wallpapers actually work so well inside as well with certain color schemes. So that's what I decided to do. So yeah, the inside here, the interior is actually created over two times. So I actually used 1 hour to create the downstairs, and then I used I believe 1 hour to do the upstairs, maybe a little more on the downstairs, just because the downstairs is actually such a big space to fill out. And oh, god damn it, I just, when I started doing this build, I totally forgot how much I hate doing bathrooms. It's just, I do not feel inspired doing bathrooms at all. And then somebody pointed out to me that sometimes I use the same furniture in all of my builds. And when I was doing this build, I just had that in my mind all the time, and I was like, nope, you cannot use that item. Nope, you cannot use that item. And was actually placing that rounded carpet on the floor, that rug thing, with all of the round squares, all the round circles. And when I was placing that, I was just like, oh, no, I cannot place this. I use this all the time. But I decided to place it anyway because I do love it. It's freaking beautiful, and it just saves me time from actually doing a bunch of the bigger rounded spots that I used to do. I just feel like it creates some sort of dimension when you actually look at it. And I do know that I use that often, but it's just, I do not actually like a lot of the rocks in this game. It's just, they're just not pretty at all. Not good looking. So yeah, and also the painting with the leaf on it. I know I've been using that a lot, and that was also pointed out to me in the comment section of some other videos. So I only used that only once in this build. So I just want to keep that in mind, only once, and it should be good. I'm aware that I use that a lot. So yeah, just want to point that out. I know some items, but it's just, sometimes I just feel so limited in The Sims 4, and I really do miss The Sims 3 and the color wheel and the patterns and all that stuff you could bring onto objects. I just really miss that sometimes, but I just feel like there's only certain items that goes together, and they have kind of created like this color scheme for certain items to go with other certain items. So if you have something, let's just say orange or yellow, there's only a certain amount of items that can actually change into orange, yellow, red that is going to go with that certain item. And it's actually really clever done by the team at EA to have done this, but it just restricts the amount of stuff that you can actually do to kind of work together. And that's why often I stick to a color scheme that I'm used to, and a color scheme that I know, okay, so if I choose this color scheme in this build, I have these items to work with. And somebody actually pointed out that I should try to do a build with color schemes and wallpapers, whatever, with all color schemes that I have not used yet. And I actually thought that was a pretty cool idea. So I'm certainly gonna think about that. But for now, I'm just gonna stick to this. But I do have that in mind when building in the future. So here we have the master bedroom, which is located just beside the dining room. I was trying to fit in a walk-in closet here. So this room actually got a bit smaller just because I really wanted to have that walk-in closet. I just felt like the room needed it, and it would look so good. So that's why we did that. And we have all of these big windows, and this is also something I've struggled with. For some reason, the drapes and curtains and all that stuff is just acting up sometimes, and it does not want to be put where you want to put it. It's like it sticks to the window and you cannot move it freely as you would a painting, which is freaking annoying. But what can you do about it? So again, we have a lot of space here in the excuse me, in the master bedroom, just because of the angles that we're actually working with in this house. Every room started feeling a bit big, and I had trouble in the end actually finding stuff to put into the rooms without, copy pasting everything. So we moved upstairs here, and here we have the biggest of the bathrooms, just because there's supposed to be 2 bedrooms up here, which one of them I did not furnish. So you guys have a room for yourself to actually furnish to your heart's content, whatever you want to do with it, it's fine. But yeah, I did not furnish that. But the biggest bathroom here, and here I used the leaf painting as the only time in this build. I just want to point that out. The living room here, at first I actually did not like how the angle was here, and I could not figure out what to do with this this angle and how to actually place in the living room, but I think I made it work in the end. It's a bit odd shaped, and it was actually quite a challenge to just do rooms in this build just because of all of the angles. When you try to create something round, you end up having all of these angles. And that's something I've noticed. The Sims, ever since The Sims 3, where you could place stuff on an angle, it's just been hell to figure out how to work with the angles. But I think it turned out pretty nice. In the end, just use that aquarium as a little wall separation from the staircase, and yeah, didn't actually do much in the living room space. Just here we have a little reading area, and the room with the art stuff that you can kind of see in the background there. We're gonna move into that in a little bit, but for some reason that room just flipped out when I tried to put in stuff. It was just like the grid was not working, and it's just, I don't know, it was weird. It was so weird, and it just, yeah, you're gonna see it in a minute, because I was actually struggling to actually play stuff just because the camera, or not the camera, just the items were just kind of flying around and did not want to be placed, and it was super weird. So one thing you actually also might note in this build, we have a lot of balconies and little seating areas outside. And that was something I really liked about this build. Oh yeah, here you see it. I was working, and then I couldn't click certain stuff, and it wouldn't be placed on the walls, and then I had to zoom super close to actually pick up stuff, and here I couldn't get the bed. I don't know what the hell was going on, but it was super, super weird, and yeah, I have no idea what that was about. I've never ever experienced that in The Sims 4, and I've been playing this since it released. I mean, what is that? I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? It's just, fighting the camera is just never fun, and it was just like, at that point I was so over it, and I was just like, you know what? Screw this. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. And then the couch, and it was freaking awful. I was just trying to fight something, and then the plant wouldn't go on the table. Then I tried to angle the plant again, and then it got on top of the table, and it was just like, ugh, what is going on? God damn it. But yeah, the room got finished, and I actually tested it out in the end, and everything was working fine when you play in live mode. So I don't know, it's just like in build mode that it was just kind of freaking out. It was weird. But yeah, just placing some wall lights outside. Floor lights was what I was going to say. On the outside, just to kind of accent the fake circle we have on the ground. And yeah, this build is actually almost coming to an end. I know it's been super long, but I really wanted to do something special for the 21,000 subscriber build. I mean, I'm so happy that every one of you is here and everyone who subscribed. It makes me super freaking happy. Thank you so much. I mean, I cannot express how much it makes me happy. It's just, even the people I work with and my family and stuff is just like, whoa, what is going on? And I don't understand. It's just over the span of from February to now, it's just exploded from 7,000 up to 21. And it's just freaking awesome. But here we have the screenshots of the inside, the bathroom down below, and the little study area. I actually really like this room. Just quiet room where you can kind of sit down, read a book, do some homework. The master bedroom, also looking really nice. I love how big and spacious it is. It just makes it really nice. So here we have the upstairs, right where the staircase is, and the living room area. And looking at it now, I actually really like how this turned out, despite the angle that I was working with. It is a weird angle. The upstairs bathroom here. Again, bathroom is really not my cup of tea. I do not like doing them. I just don't find them inspiring at all. And here we have the artsy kind of bedroom. And then the spare room, which you can do with whatever you want. And remember, if you want to get this build, you can certainly do that. It's on the gallery. Just search my EA ID, which is Auvbri, just like my channel is spelled, and you should be able to find all of my builds. Or search hashtag Auvbri. That should also help you find every build. If you haven't already done it, subscribe to my channel and click that little bell thing in the corner, or just right next to the subscribe button, so you get a notification every single time I upload. It really helps me out, and if you want to know every time I upload, it's a great way for you to actually figure that out as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and subscribe, like, share with your friends, and just have a truly fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for 21,000 subscribers, and yeah, I will see you next time for another video. Bye!